Pranam Gurudev. We would like to share with everyone today some of the research that we did during the past Navratri 2023. If I could also have the slide, please. So one of the first studies that we wanted to examine this year was sitting in the homas, does it actually impact the bacteria on your skin? We had done a research last year that we had seen how the homas impact the microbial air population. And this year we wanted to see the impact on human body itself. So we did a research study where we wanted to see skin bacteria, skin पे जो हमारे कीटाणु हैं, उन पे यज्ञ का क्या प्रभाव है. Next please. So जैसा कि most of us maybe know or maybe not know, our skin is teeming with bacteria. We have 1,000 species of bacteria that live on our skin. Most of them are harmless, but some of them can create problems like acne or skin problems. And if you get a cut or something, they can infect it more. तो हमारे शरीर में जो हमारी त्वचा पे 1,000 तरह के बैक्टीरिया कीटाणु रहते हैं, तो हम देखना चाहते थे कि उन पे क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. नेक्स्ट. So this study was done during Chandi Homa, and we took skin bacteria samples by just swabbing people's forehead before the Homa and then after the Homa. Next please. And we were sitting about 35 feet away from the Homa Kundas. So we were not like directly there, but so this is just to show you that itni दूर पे भी Homa का क्या प्रभाव है. Like what is the impact of Homas 35 feet away. Next please. So this is one of the results. As you can see, the plate on the left is the pre-bacterial count and the plate on the right is the post. As you can see, ki just by sitting in Chandi Homa for a few hours, this person's bacterial count reduced by 98%. Just चंडी होमा में कुछ घंटे बैठने सर उनकी स्किन का जो बैक्टीरिया है वो इतना कम हो गया. नेक्स्ट. Next slide. This is 78%, 70%, 75%. Next, please. So total we did 12 samples and we saw that at least 70% to 98% reduction we saw. So just by sitting in Chandi Homa for a few hours, थोड़े घंटे होमा में बैठने से आपका मन ही नहीं, आपका त्वचा भी एकदम प्यूरिफाई हो जाती है. The number of bacteria go down. So this is from the Chandi Homa. Then we wanted to see कि क्या जो Chandi Homa, the ash that comes out of Chandi Homa, we know that it's a nanoparticle. We have already researched it in the past. We wanted to see what is the impact of the ash on the skin bacteria. So we repeated the same study design, but with the ash. Next slide, please. So we just had people take the Chandi Homa ash and put it on their forehead. And we left it there only for 3 hours. We told them not to wash their face in the middle, that's all. तो हमने सबके थोड़ा सा ही, बहुत ज़्यादा भी नहीं, थोड़ी विभूति, थोड़ा ash लगाकर 3 घंटे के लिए छोड़ा. And we saw that ash से भी, with the ash also, we saw a reduction in the number of bacterial colonies. At least 60 to 70% reduction. Next slide, please. Next slide. So the conclusion is that when we sit in homas, it of course purifies the environment, but it also purifies our own skin and our body. Or of course Chandi Homa ka bahut, there's a greater effect of Chandi Homa, but the ash itself is a nanoparticle and that can also impact the bacteria on our skin. So this I think is one of the first studies that has shown this. So we are very happy to share this with you. The next study we did, there are 3 studies. The second study we did was on the same study we did last year because we wanted to check, is it, once you do a study, you want to see whether we get the same impact next year. So we did the same thing. We also measured the impact of homas on the microbial air population. Does it reduce the contaminants in the air? As you know, our air around has millions of bacteria and they can impact us. They can create skin infection, lung infection, bacteria, viruses. So what we saw, next slide please, next slide. So what we saw, this site was again 60 feet away. Now this research experiment was done about 60 feet away from the Yagya Homa Kunda. So you can see the impact the homas have on such a large area. Next slide. So this is the plates photo. Next, we can, yeah, next. We saw the same pattern as last year. So that is very good because even though the site was different this year for the pujas, puja ki jagah alag thi. It was a new venue which was just being constructed. Even in spite of that, the homas had such a powerful effect, and we saw the same trend as last year. So for us, that's a big validation of the power of yagyas in removing the contaminants from the air. So जो हमने last year देखा, हमने same pattern देखा, तो इससे हमें पता चलता है कि किस तरह से yagyas का impact है. There's one more
slide. Okay.
Next is we did air quality monitoring. बहुत बार जब हम बोलते हैं yagyas को हमें hospitals वगैरह में करना चाहिए, तो they say that they create pollution. So we measured the air quality during yagyas. Next, quickly we can do next. So we saw that we saw carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. Can we see the carbon? Yeah, can we be here? So we saw that the amount of carbon dioxide, the highest level of carbon dioxide that was being produced in the yagyas was much, much, much insignificant compared to what a diesel engine or anything else will produce. And it was much lesser compared to a small, we replicated a small fire somewhere close and we saw the effect of that. It was much lesser than that. Next, please. We saw high formaldehyde. Next, and we saw high volatile organic compounds. So next, please. So basically, in summary, if I have to say very quickly, what we saw was that the impact of yagyas on air is not the same as that of a fire. It is very different. It doesn't create as much quote-unquote pollution, doesn't create as much carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide, and has more formaldehyde and volatile compounds, because of which it is disinfecting for the environment. And even though and this is the highest level we are showing you, even though the level is high, at that time it dissipates very quickly. So it is not, has a very different impact on the environment than any other burning or any other volatile things that happen. Thank you.